welcome to Center Heights Productions. It is August the 11th, 2023. Unfortunately, this tape would have been done yesterday, but we had to do it on a different computer. This is on a newer one. Had some problems with a couple of the tapings we did for this taping, so we had to redo it. Anyway, please hit the likes and subscribes. And we have Bob Gainey in the room once again with us for this episode of the projected lineups we have for opening night for the Habs. Hit the likes and subscribes. Let's try to get 100 views. And tell your friends and family. Let's get the word around. We're trying to build a community, good, strong community here. And leave your comments at the end of the video. Tell me what your thoughts are. Okay, I'm going to try to make this fast. Very simple. We all know the line one, Caulfield, Suzuki, Newhook is my projected for the line one. However, Newhook will be rotated, I believe, with Monahan and Doc being the guys rotated. Don't be surprised if you see Pinard in there the odd time. But as far as opening night, Caulfield, Suzuki, and Newhook. Monahan, Doc, and Anderson for opening night. This could also be a bit of a change too, because I got Slav also as a spare on that second line, kind of between him and Anderson. However, if we don't have Dvorak and he's injured, you could always drop Monahan, although I can't see Monahan going to the third line. But you could, but I didn't do that. I just think they're going to try to up Monahan's stocking, really make Monahan a steal for trade deadline time. So I got Monahan, Doc, Anderson with the also leaving the door open to Slavkovsky being on there. And that's line two. The shocker that I'm going to, which most people probably aren't thinking of, and I've been saying this for weeks, months, Emil Heineman will be on the third line. I would not be surprised if he moves up to the second line with some of the consistency issues we have with guys like Josh Anderson. I think Emil Heineman's going to take that spot down the road as the season goes on. But anyway, he'll be on the third line with the possibility of Elias Anderson covering for Dvorak. That's a possibility. There's also, there's a possibility there of Ylonen as well. So you can't rule it out. But I've got Anderson. Heineman is on the left. And Galley. I'm giving Galley credit here because I don't know if Galley's going to be able to stay on the third line. And I think he would do himself a favor being on the fourth line. But I've got him slotted there on the third line. And Dvorak will get his role back as soon as he comes back. And Anderson will probably be bumped out of the lineup or down one spot, depending on how well he does. But Dvorak clearly will take that position back, and they'll probably want to up his stock. He'll probably be gone by trade deadline. Then I got line four as Pizzetta, Evans, and Harvey Pinard. Now that also leaves Ylonen and Armia and Slavkovsky on kind of sitting on the outside, although I think Slav will be in the lineup. It's going to be where he sits. I'm not totally positive. He could be bounced from anywhere from, and they could try him on line one as well at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen right away, but I see him more as being slotted and rotated between line two and line four. However, with saying that, I think Galley could very well drop to the fourth line and be outplayed by Slav or Pinard. And I think it would be better on body. Yeah, Galley's body. I think he's so beat up and he's aged now that I think he needs to accept, with the less time given to him on line four, will be a favor to him. It might help his body out. So I think that would be a good thing for him. So we still could use, this is why I say we need to make a move on this Evans deal and get him out of there, because we don't want to lose it, Ylonen, or you want spaces open for Ylonen, Pinard, and Heineman. You don't want them held back, and it possibly could open it up for Beck. that would be kind of nice to see as well. But as long as Evans there, it's going to make it a little more trying, and he'd be better off in Laval. But anyhow, that solves your forward group. Defense crew. I didn't realize how jammed up we still are on defense. So we definitely cannot hang on to Petrie because this is going to really mess it up for the youngsters. But he would definitely be a solve for line one. But I don't think either party wants to be married again in that grouping. So I got Matheson starting out with Savard. I don't know how long Savard will be able to hang in that role online, the first pairing, because I think it's maybe too much for him. He's really a third pairing defenseman. And you don't want him with Gooley. That didn't pan out the greatest. It was good in small areas, but wasn't good in other areas. You really need somebody offensive. But then again, you also need somebody who can get back because Savard does get out skated quite a bit. His strength is blocking shots. He's definitely a team guy. So I got Matheson and Savard. Gooley and Harris is who I have rotating with Barron. I think you'll see a rotation. They might use the youngsters to rotate a little bit. And so I can see Harris being there in the beginning with Gooley, and that might be a good pairing. And then we'll have, I think the one pairing that's I wouldn't mess with is the only pairing that's pretty solid, and they've got chemistry, and that's Jacky and Kasevich. And I really leave that alone. That's just my own opinion. However, we'll see what happens. There's going to be a lot of things happening. So that'll leave Barron and Weidman as your spares, with, like I said, being a rotation. And then Monty is your starter, no doubt in my mind about this. And I think everybody's kind of talking about DeSmith maybe Montreal. It's a possibility, but I don't. In my opinion, I think DeSmith was more brought in to take the role in Laval to be with Dobbs, um, a veteran there with an NHL experience to assist the kid, just to back him up because I think Cade's Primo's time is up, will be up. He'll have this training camp preseason to prove himself. He will not outbeat Allen. He will not outbeat Monty, who's the starter, and he won't even beat out to Smith. He's had his chances. He's not NHL caliber, and I'm starting to wonder can he. He started to slide a bit there last year in Laval, so I don't know. But somebody will pick him up on waivers. There's no doubt in my mind. I think that's exactly what I think DeSmith is brought in for. So that's your situation with the lineup. That's over with. Now we're going to go right to the Petrie story. And very simple, Jeff Petrie. There's so many rumors going on, and you know, deciphering between the reporters and some of the small podcasts that are reporting stuff that if they followed through the journalists' reports, they would see that they might not have said what they said had they read everything. However, it's the biggest rumor is Jeff, and we know there has been no press conference for Petrie, DeSmith, or even the youngster. But Lagar he'll be a Laval product, no doubt about it. And as far as it makes you wonder with the other two, it does make you wonder. However, I think it was probably agreed upon behind closed doors with Petrie and Hughes that for both parties' sake, they'll roll them for a pick for something valuable because they can get it now that 25% of his salary is covered. That's a pretty good deal. And a lot of people are saying Montreal should pay 50 on top of it. Why would you? Pay 20, you could cover 25% like Pittsburgh did, and then half of his contract is covered. That's plenty good enough deal. However, we don't know how far they'll go with that. But I think that's plenty. I don't think you need to go 50, making it a 75% covered thing. I think that's going a little bit far. However, the rumor is Dallas is the biggest rumor of all for Petrie, and it was with one of their young forwards. It was kind of, I believe he was between 25 and 27, and I forget his name because I take a lot of interest although they said he had a half decent write up when he first came into the league, but he hasn't lived up to it. So maybe he's thrown to Montreal. Not a bad swap with a draft pick, and you get rid of Petrie. Um, you get yourself a second round pick. Well, that'd be half decent, and you see if this kid can rejuvenate down in the lab because he's got talent. There's no doubt about it. So that's what the trade proposal is from the reporters that are discussing it in Montreal and the reporters that have mentioned it in Dallas. So then we got some branches of small podcasts that's going, oh, Montreal shouldn't do it. It's not a good fit because they're going to try to pawn off Suter to us. Well, yes, they want to get rid of Suter, no doubt about it, uh, because that in order to have Petrie. But if you get rid of from what the reporter said, the salary of this youngster was right around where Petrie is now with the help on his salary. So it's a better swap. And remember, Jeff Gordon and Hughes are not that dumb. Just because Dallas wants to get rid of Suter doesn't mean Montreal's biting, and I don't. That's not who's been mentioned. So for anybody to be saying it's not even what's been out there. Yes, they can buy him out if they have to, Suter, and move him on or put him on waivers to see what happens. But Montreal, that's probably most likely to me. If Dallas has got to do that, that's going to have to be a separate trade. So don't worry because it's not mentioned in any of the write-ups. It being Suter's name mentioned. It's youngster and picks. So I just say read the articles. However, they're all rumors too. Everything's a rumor right now. We won't know, but I do think Petrie's on his way out before the season starts. I think it'd be a good move. You don't need more of a logjam than you have. And then we've got Evans is the other rumor, and we've been hearing that for weeks. That Edmonton Oilers are interested in him. I think we should go for it. Lavoie was one of the guys from Edmonton, youngster with quite a bit of potential, and I think that would be a clear swap. Send him down to Laval and let him get developed properly, and he's got potential anyway. But Evans' days are over since the Shifley hit. He's not the same hockey player. He's not going to be, and concussions are going to do him in. And it's a matter of time. It stays in Montreal. There's too many talented young players below him that you don't want to hold that spot up. You're going to have to start bringing spots like that up as soon as you can anyway. And we know when Dvorak gets back, if Elias Anderson or Monahan cover that spot, we don't know. But I got Anderson written in there for the time being, or even Alonen could be. However, we know Dvorak will get that spot back, and he will. He's got great numbers, and hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy and up his stock because he's going by trade deadline as well. So with that being said, like I said, we had what's his name? He used to play for the Habs. He was pumping the tires on the Petrie to Edmonton, and people got to think Petrie didn't go out of Edmonton too well. So I find it highly unlikely. Although I think he'd help them. I think he'd help. Truthfully, I think Toronto should be the team looking at Petrie for their back end. He would be a great blessing for them in my books. But anyway, that being said, my team, I know it was, what is his name? Oh, I can see him. Maxime Lapierre is the one who brought out the story of Quebec media that the Petrie going to Edmonton, maybe in a package with Evans, and I don't buy it totally. Lapierre comes up with a lot of stories a lot of times that tends to be just a lot of rumors that surmount to nothing. Anyhow, there's a third team not mentioned, and that was the first team that was interested in Petrie the first time, except Petrie's contract was what blew it out of the water because it was too high. And nobody's thinking about it, and it's Detroit. And right now, if as wise as Stevie Y is, I wouldn't be surprised because now you're getting Petrie for almost like a third of what his contract is. And Montreal only needs to be paid 25 on top of that because that's plenty of a deal already as it is. So really, with 50% of his contract covered, that's plenty. You don't need to pay 75% of it and make it that sweet of a deal unless you're somehow going to pull off a miracle and get a first round for him, and I don't see that happening. So anyway, don't count. I think that's a better fit. He's got ties to both Dallas. His family's got ties to Dallas, and that's why I think Dallas is probably going to be where the triggers both. But Detroit, I think he's got family ties there as well with his wife's family, and I can see that would be a good pick, in my opinion, to have a veteran with the young kids in Detroit just to get them on the right, a little bit of experience, the guy behind them. So that's my thoughts with all of that. We shall see what happens, and hopefully, a couple of these triggers are pulled because it wouldn't be bad seeing a couple forwards still go. And anyway, I just want to thank you for watching. Let me know your comments. Leave them in the comments section. I do read them. And tell me your opinion and what your thoughts are. We're all here making. We're all just putting our opinions out. It's what it's all about. What little we know on it yet, until Hughes comes out and pulls the trigger. So anyway, please hit the likes and subscribe. Get your family members to involve. Anybody you know, pass on the word. And we're trying to grow the community. And I appreciate it very much. Appreciate everybody supporting. And where's Puck Drop first? Here at Center Ice. And we shall catch you in the next episode. God.